In this video, I'm going to be philosophizing on inappropriate conduct in relation to what is actual factual misconduct, meaning that inappropriate conduct tends to exist more meaningfully as concerned with uniquely misconduct, exclusive to the intracategorical and or intercategorical associations. Inappropriate conducts certainly exist in relation to some meaningful existing priors. What proportionate to the prior existing evaluations and or deliberations with weight juster to the appropriate satisfaction of the meaningful criteria satisfying the underlying internal and or external conditions within the brainstormed evaluation schemas appropriate to satisfy the internal and or external validity as to provide working descriptions and or prescriptions as to the meaningful conducts one may engage to alleviate suffering appropriately, compared to the inappropriate conducts more likely to probabilistically increase unnecessary suffering and or unnecessary psychological distress and or undue suffering and or undue psychological distress inflicted on another, resulting from the effects of one's own conducts and or preventable conducts in another individual whom is exclusively engaging in nefarious and or erroneous conduct, not as conduct, be it truly misconduct, engaging unethical, immoral conducts with untreated dysfunctions within one's mind-body connections, in need of satisfying certain underlying psychological needs, meaningful to approximate the appropriate satisfactions within certain psychological needs. One is responsible, had one not engaged the as it must be good enough and necessary conditions, voluntary sofrimento e o responsabilidade exclusivamente preocupado como exclusivamente o satisfatório subagente certo psicológico precisas dentro o mais apessoso tratamento em ordem para melhorar a adequação em o processo de justiça dentro o evaluações e o deliberações, desando de o existente prior efetivamente e o eficiências para melhorar umas resultados, improving the outcomes in relation to the treatment of the offender, to mean the wrongdoer and or troublemaker, appropriate to the evaluation and or deliberation one may engage concerning what is appropriate and what is not, meaning inappropriate misconduct not to be conducted meaningfully in relation to the comparison of meaningful values, one values, never existing within the misconducts, with no truly meaningful, really true excuses and or justifications, only ever meaningful to the valued conducts one may meaningfully engage to improve the satisfaction of certain psychological needs underlying any meaningful conduct in relation to the comparison of misconducts. Appropriate conducts are meaningful as conducts in comparison to inappropriate misconducts, always misconducts and never conducts. Allowing for one to cultivate values within the meaningful prior existing deliberations within one's moral evaluation, clear thinking, engages well-defined, meaningful communications one can describe within details in elaborate communications, drawing only from the evaluations of the exclusively meaningful facts relevant to the meaningful, juster, creative thinking to resolve problems within the issues arising to one's evaluative moral conscious, weighing the thoughts to the distinct attributions of arbitrary values into meaningful values aggregated to be able to communicate the quantifications of intrinsic value into existential values. One may infer existential needs concerned with one's meaning in life from moment to moment, amongst optimizing subjective well-being from moment to moment to improve and or uniquely satisfy the underlying certain psychological needs unmet, to improve the appropriateness of one's conduct, engaging more meaningful appropriations of the best practices in treating unnecessary suffering and or unnecessary psychological distress inflicted, to be able to cultivate one's own values with the utmost aliquosan in the direction of meaningful desired effect appropriate to the alleviation of suffering, uma valorizados. That's all I want to say for this video. Hope you have an awesome one. Keep doing those episodes.